Morning everybody, and welcome to the channel. It's Easter Monday, and I promised myself at months that I was coming out into Leeds today to make a video, and it's absolutely throwing it down. I'm at the site of what we used to call when we were young the Green Bridge. You can see where it went to the other side, and I'm actually standing where it was. It was a green cast iron bridge, sort of divided Cross Green from Hunslet. That's Cross Green area of Leeds. St Hilda's Church in the distance there on the hill. And the bridge was a bit of a local landmark. It was cast iron, green tubing. Seemed to be there for a long time. It was replaced by this when they extended the inner ring road. A few years back. Never seen one of those signs before, like the City of London signs. City of Leeds, Richmond Bridge. So as I say, I've been promising myself a walk on this day for months and months, and of course I never considered the weather. Which is ironic really, when all I've done is talk about the rain for months now. Not only is it raining, it's quite windy. It's about 7 degrees, so it's a bit miserable. But I suppose it's better than sitting at home watching the rain from the living room window. So as I say, we're heading off into Hunslet today. It's an area I know a little bit from working and living, and I've not really made too many plans. I've a rough idea where I'm going to walk. But it's an area that has changed dramatically over the years. You go up there to get to the Royal Armouries and into the city really. So as I say, I have a rough idea of where we're going. Clarence Road, that was it. I couldn't remember the name of it. The road that takes you up to what used to be Clarence Dock is now called Leeds Dock, and also the Royal Armouries. But if I do come across anything and I don't know the details of it, research it and put it up in the screen later. The main purpose of the walk really is to see what's still around in this part of Leeds. This building here, it's been here for ages like this. Absolutely ages. I think we came across this inner ring road extension a few few months back. I think in it I remember saying that it had been talked about since the 1960s. And it was finally built about 10 years ago. It links the inner ring road that runs through the city centre with all the motorways, the M1, the M621. Hunslet Park bus depot. You can see it when you're driving over the inner ring road. First thing I wanted to show you really was this old mill. The bit on the left over there looks like they're going to build here. The bit on the left was derelict from as long as I can remember, back in the 1960s. I think the white bit looks new, and then this bit here with the chimney, this was here derelict as well. And it was in the local newspapers and on the news for so many years about it, but they did manage to revitalise it, turn it into apartments. I think it's like so much of Leeds, it was derelict for so long, but if we can avoid flattening things, there is often a use for them. Unfortunately, so much has been flattened. Lovely old building though. Well, that part of it's a lovely old building. There's a street sign there that says Goodman Street. And part of the reason I came up here was there was a pub, and I was sure it was called the Goodman. I only went in it once. But for those who don't know, there was a brewery that was in Leeds from the 1800s called Tettley's. It closed down quite a few years ago now. But Leeds was just full of Tettley's pubs. It was in the days when big breweries owned and ran all their own pubs. Nearly every pub around here was a Tettley's pub. And back in the 70s, they did a thing called the Tettley's pub hunt, where you got it's very sad, you got a stamp for every time you bought a pint, and you got a free t-shirt, and you had to I think this is it. Try not to get run over. got a stamp every time you had a pint, and Larchfield Road. And after you'd had about 25 pints, you got a free t-shirt. It'd probably be on YouTube now as some sort of a drinking challenge, wouldn't it? Well, there you go. What was the Goodman? I think we did it a couple of times, but to get there were maybe half a dozen or so, about 10 Tettley's pubs where I lived, over in sort of Cross Green, where I lived. So eventually we ventured down here and ticked off a lot of pubs down here. It was fascinating. Used to walk miles. Anyhow, there's not much old left down here. Oh, I know. There we'll go. We're heading over there, the other side of Hunslet Road. Bit of a bank holiday treat for any bus aficionados out there. There's not supposed to be as many buses in there on a normal Monday, would there? The rain seems to have eased off just enough to put the umbrella down. So Hunslet, there's a museum in Leeds, probably the best way to describe it. It's an industrial area, very much so, has been since the start of the Industrial Revolution. It's becoming a little more apartments and offices now. But there's a museum in Leeds called the Leeds Industrial Museum. It's based in an old mill. I think it's the oldest working water mill. I'll put it up on screen. Another old Tettley's pub there. The Brookfield. It's now a bed and breakfast. Yeah, it's a. I don't know the exact status of the Leeds Industrial Museum, but I will look it up and put it on the screen. Anyhow, it's at Armley Mills. It's a museum dedicated to Leeds industrial history and heritage. And there's a mural on the wall, and basically it says, I think Leeds once boasted it built everything that there was to be built. And spot for choice here, Brame sheet metal pressings. I think it might be a listed building. And there's a pub that was a cracking pub for a long time. Empty, of course, as most pubs are. The Mulberry. I don't think that was linked to Tettley's, and later in life it became a real ale pub. I'll cross over in a moment. I just wanted to show you the frontage of this place. (1913). But this is Hunslet's past. This is what it was full of. As I say, anything and everything, from clothing to trains. But that over there, that's Hunslet's future. Apartments, and more apartments. If ever you're in Leeds, it's not an expensive museum to get in, and it's not massive, but it's one of my favourite museums kind of anywhere. It's a right interesting place. Had many happy hours in here. I really did. It was before, like, real ale pubs now are a kind of a trendy thing, aren't they? They've got their own microbreweries attached and what have you, but there weren't so many in those days. It was either Whitbread or Tettley's. If you can remember any more, let me know in the comments. But that was it. So to go in somewhere that had beers from around the country, it was lovely. This place has been forever. It's still called Startrights. It was called Startrights when I was 17. It's a motorbike shop. They do repairs. And again, it's in a building. The whole of Hunslet Road would have been like this, with old buildings like this on the front and the pub, and I'll show you some more further up. And then sometimes factories on the front, of course, but mostly shops and houses. And then behind them, all the industry stretching for mile upon mile upon mile. But yeah, that's the future. I wish I'd have done this. No point wishing, is there? But I wish I'd have done this 5 or even 10 years ago. There was so much remaining back then. But now it's It's flattened and under roads. Massive queue of people going into Costco. I didn't know they had a petrol station. Some old buildings here. Not sure what they are. I was just thinking to myself, my dad used to work in this area, and his dad before him. And I often wonder, he brought some of these people back to this part of Leeds. There'd be little, tiny little snippets of what they saw, of what they knew, but not so much. So much has changed, and what does seem to be happening is we seem to, since COVID, given that we're supposed to be borderline recession in this country, but change in Leeds is happening at a real pace. Mason Street. As always, if there's anything you'd like to add in the comments about places that I visit or places where you think I should visit, then do let me know. Old railway. And a very dodgy lad on a bike. So I've moved my phone from my tripod. To just handheld until he's buggered off. Oh wow. The city in the distance there. I know there was a huge network of railways in Hunslet because they built a lot of trains, and in those days everything that they built had to be taken away by train. They were often run road. But if you're wondering where any mass transit system in Leeds might go, it's ready made for you guys. The Green Bridge I was telling you about had a gas pipeline very similar to that. It was of a similar construction to this, but much bigger. I have to say I never did it, but the kids used to dare each other. The gas pipeline part was over the river, and the kids used to dare each other to walk across. They didn't have spikes like that to put on it in those days to stop them. To say I haven't really researched what I was doing today, where I was going, but I think this is the think this might be the Hunslet engine company around here. Fantastic. Oh yeah, the old engine works. The old engine works.co.uk, the original works offices of Manning Wardle in 1856. Fantastic gates. The Boyne Engine Works. Let me know what you think of these city walks, folks. I started the channel to do the nature and my hiking walks, but they really don't seem as popular. These do seem to be one of the most popular things to do, and I'm not sure I'd want to be walking around the city on a weekday, but I'm always happy to come out on a bank holiday. Railway lines. And at this side of the road we had the Midland engine. And here's another very famous old company, the Hunslet Engine Company. It was the longest lived firm in this dynamic area, building over 1/3 of the 19,000 locomotives produced in Leeds for passenger and freight trains, factories, docks, mines, tunnelling and plantations throughout the world. 1864 to 1895. It's incredible. We're pretty good at building plastic apartments, though, these days. And look what there is. Railway lines. Who would have thought it, eh? There's another one just further down. Just there, short one. I follow a channel called Miles in Transit. It's an American guy who visits puts videos about buses and trains, and he's always using the expression "one for the foamers," which I didn't know what a foamer was. Apparently it's like a nerd in this country, somebody with a keen interest in trains and buses. But we've got one for the train foamers and the bus foamers today. I'm not sure what kind of a foamer I am. So this land now must be owned by Schneider Electrical. European flags flying, British flag. Show my ignorance, is that the French flag or the German flag? I'm sure I'll be corrected. But yeah, there. So there is still industry in the area. Ahead of us there was a huge housing complex, the other side of the main road. It was called Leeds Street Flats. It was built in the 60s in the brutalist style of concrete and walkways and multi-stories. It was supposed to be the future. They demolished thousands of houses to build it. and in turn it was demolished itself about 25 years after it was built. It had become a slum in such a short time. Anyhow, Grape Street, Leeds 10. Apologies if this is all a little bit disjointed. I'm having some trouble with my phone. A few months ago my memory card was full, and now the blooming thing wants to update. So I keep having to go back and redo various bits. The reason I'm coming down here, there was another pub on the Tettley's pub hunt. I do promise we will find a Tettley's pub open eventually on one of these little walks. But getting a pub I only ever went in once, and I think they survived because they are well suited to turning into offices and such like. But this was called the British Queen, and you can just imagine it, can't you? Shift changeover times. It would have been incredible, just full of workers. But yeah, they seem to have changed it a bit, because I do have a recollection of there being a door on the front. But if you remember better than I do, let me know in the comments. That's the only old building of any description down here. Oh no, well, what are these? 60s maybe. Yeah. Tesla have got an office in there. It's the future. We didn't come up here, did we? Because I wanted to go to the end to see the old engine works. And you still get a feel for it, don't you? Spencel Precision Machining, 100 years of manufacturing excellence. And then there's other parts of the city where there was tailor shops and such like. There's me saying about people queuing to go in Costco, and I'm walking down this road just to take a video of this old wall. Oh dear. I was going to say I need to get out more, but I am out. That's a great old wall, isn't it? And a gateway. I think this will just take us back to the road where Costco was. Yeah. And I don't want to go that way, so we'll head back. I say, do let me know what you think of these walks. I know there are lots of these kinds of videos on YouTube. There are people who go to different places like every week, don't they? And there are other people who specialise in like Leeds history walks and things like that. I wish I had categorised these. I never knew this was here. Indoor climbing wall and skate park. But yeah, there are literally dozens and dozens of these kind of walks I could do just in Leeds. So if you are interested or have any ideas, let me know. Not quite sure where I know where I want to be. Oh, we're back on we're back on Grape Street. I think this used to be a Land Rover dealership a long time ago. Of course. Make way British industry. Well, we've had one for the bus formers, one for the one for the train formers, and now one for the Tesla formers. Again, not 100% sure what this building used to be, but it's a very old one. Been here a long time, and it was transformed, well, maybe in the 80s. Better not take photographs of the Tesla dealership, had I? Cross over now. Old factory though. These factory doors and everything. And even a cobbled street. How cool is that, eh? They're still there. Union Industries. Again, let me know what you know in the comments. Help me out. I've been admonished by friends for not researching these walks better, but I just enjoy doing it this way. See what we can see and filling in all the gaps later. Church in the distance there, you can see the other side of the river is St Saviour's Church. Very historical church. I Need to take a walk around that area in more detail. Ready for a cup of tea. Ooh, really light. There's a McDonald's up here somewhere. I need a toilet, so I might have to purchase a cup of tea off them. There you go, guys. Probably shouldn't buy anything else other than a cup of tea off them because I think I already mentioned it. On a bit of a diet, lost 5 kilograms since January, which somebody told me wasn't enough and I should get serious about it. There you go. So maybe a lot of a McDonald's. But the reason I'm coming up here is, as I say, Hunslet was just, it went for miles, it went for 2 or 3 miles in that direction, going towards Sturton, and a couple of miles back going towards Holbeck. And I think the front was like shops, and there would have been houses and streets running off it, because obviously the houses and streets were built near to the factories. But the front would have had all the array of shops that people needed, so further back down there, the Mulberry and what have you, is a bit of an idea. I think these might be more modern, but to give you an idea what it was like. And the main reason I want to come here, it's just a little memory I have of my mum. She used to wallpaper the house in the days when you wallpapered houses, and every so often I'd get a phone call. She swore by this shop, and it's still probably the only one I know of its kind. It's an actual wallpaper shop, and it's a lovely old stone, and it's in a lovely old stone building. That was an old bank. Stafford Street. Yeah, I'm a bit flabbergasted really that it's still here, serving the people of Leeds since 1882. Yeah. Incredible. She loved it here. So if you do want wallpaper, you don't live in Leeds, support a proper local business. go then, folks, from Victorian Britain to this. Nearly back at the start now, folks. I didn't buy anything from McDonald's, just used the toilet. The reason I'm on a diet in the first place is through a lifetime of eating their food and drinking the aforementioned Tettley's beer. So I think the very least we can do for the tens of thousands of calories and hundreds and thousands of pounds I've spent is let me use the loo. But for now, thank you for watching. If you did like the video, give it a big thumbs up. It really does help. Growth is ground to a halt on the channel at the moment, so every little helps, so give it a like. If you do like this kind of content, subscribe, tell your friends about it. I hear other YouTubers saying hit the notification bell. I'm still not quite sure what that is, but hit the notification bell. Subscription, of course, is free. Costs you nothing other than a little bit of your time listening to me drivel on. But anyway, for now, thank you very much for watching. If you have watched, drop me a comment, let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. Cheerio.